right. Well, welcome back to All Fired Up Radio, where the talk is anything but cheap, and our goal is to fire you up for your rights and freedoms, which are, by the way, not free. One very active spokesperson for that very cause is my friend, very good friend of All Fired Up Radio, and VP of Stop the Magnet, Liz Seiss. Liz, are you with me?
Yes, I am.
Good
Glad
morning,
to be here.
sunshine. How are you?
Doing good. Getting ready to roll, and we're getting ready for those early vote elections and getting people out there and excited about these petitions. So I'm hoping to share the news with your audience today.
Well, let's talk about the petitions. First off, let's talk about what is Stop the Magnet and what are you guys doing?
Well, I have been in the immigration movement, the immigration enforcement movement, for about 7 years. I started out with U.S. Border Watch. So after observing how the issue doesn't seem to gain traction in terms of getting enforcement, I decided to start this group based around getting a direct vote from the citizens on illegal immigration. And after watching what happened in Austin during the last legislative session and realizing that even when we had a predominantly Republican legislature, we were not getting out of, I think there were over 400 bills submitted, we were not getting any enforcement bills to pass. So I thought, well, my suspicions are correct in that there are special interests that are capable of blocking enforcement. So why not do a petition campaign? And that's what Stop the Magnet is all about. The name means magnet. That means we're drawing in people. We're continuing to give benefits here, as well as in-state tuition. We're allowing them to work and work for cash. And I thought, well, we need to turn off those magnets and stop encouraging them to come over. So that's where the name comes from. In a way, it's a battle cry because we know that there's a lot of special interests out there that enjoy all of this cheap labor and pass those costs on to the taxpayers, and they were never invited to the table to weigh in on the issue. So we have 2 ballot propositions we'd like to get up on an upcoming ballot. We had hoped to get 2012. We didn't make the timing, and again, we were looking towards 2013 ballot for City of Houston voters. But again, the city has thrown up a couple of propositions that may stymie our efforts in terms of that ballot, and I'll get into that a little bit later. Basically, there are 2 props we're trying to get on an upcoming ballot. One of them is E-Verify for city contracts. So those contractors and subcontractors that move forward and submit a bid to the City of Houston, we're basically appendaging a document that says they must agree to utilize the E-Verify system as a condition of getting that reward from the city or getting that bid. So that is one of the petitions. And then the other one is the long fought for overturn of Sanctuary City that, again, the legislature failed to get passed. And this one basically is taken out of Alabama 56, and we put in the word City of Houston and HBD, and we made it our own. And what's neat about that legal work is that it lays out the documents that are acceptable for an HBD officer to accept, and like the military card or a tribal card or a visa and so on, so that it's very clear what are considered acceptable forms of identification if an HPD officer pulls someone over on a probable cause. So those are the 2 props, and we are hoping to get those passed with enough signatures. We're going to need 20,000 City of Houston voters to sign our petitions, and the formula is you must get 20,000 registered city voters within a 180-day period. So one of our big pushes is to get out there at the early voting sites. We have chosen 5 and get as many signatures as we can. And hopefully, if God is with us, we can get those numbers in.
Well, and I think that we can too. There are enough people who really are concerned about this issue. Houston itself has been labeled a sanctuary city, and one of the things that I saw on your website this morning, I don't know when it was posted, but it was people talk about that Houston, they debate the issue whether or not Houston is a sanctuary city, correct? They talk about it all the time, and our officials would like us to believe that they have not allowed Houston to be a sanctuary city, and yet I saw a picture on your website today. Like I said, I don't remember where it was posted, but I believe it said City Hall has a flag of Mexico prominently displayed on the outside of the counter. And
right, that was on the Facebook page for Stop the Magnet, and basically that was the legal department.
Oh my gosh!
Inside, City Hall.
Well, and it is very welcoming, and I would certainly feel welcome if I was in somebody else's country and saw the United States flag, in their legal department at City Hall.
Yes.
But these are really, and I understand that we're a melting pot, right? And I get that, and I have no problem with that. I love it. I enjoy it. I love that you get different perspectives. We have a lot of friends who have come to our country legally and who have brought wives or spouses in from other countries legally. They have gone through a lot of learning. They have gone through a lot of payments, legalities that they have to go through in a process to make themselves American citizens. And I think the reason that process exists is so that they realize what it means to be an American citizen. These who come here illegally don't have that identity of being an American citizen, but instead they are simply people who have moved into our territory and claimed it for their own. And in that, we have talked, or I have talked to, Lori and I were at the Amnesty rally in D.C. back, I think, in 2010, and there were a lot of people there who insisted that this is their land and they are here, and they're wearing T-shirts that say undocumented and unafraid, and they don't care. And they have no respect for the country. They have no respect for being an American. They want to be Mexicans in America without and utilizing all that we, the taxpayer, are willing to flip the bill for, and they have no shame about that anymore. Is there?
Right, and that makes me remember a gentleman that wrote me a real touching little note. He wanted to learn more about petitions. He was somewhere out there in West Houston. His name was Mr. Quintero, and I called him back. Eventually, I sent him the petitions. I called him back, and he was from Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, he wasn't what I would call a most fluent speaker, but he did have a grip on the language. And I think he had come here maybe since the 50s. He'd been around here for a while. And he told me the thing that made, he thanked me. And he said, he told me, it was funny, he found the word clone, and he said, oh, I wish we could clone you. Because I was kind of going out there doing this, and he felt like, even as really a Mexican national that immigrated here, he felt like something was gone seriously wrong in this country. And what he mentioned was, these people are coming here demanding, and that was the word he used, and he was very upset. And I invited him to participate with us in our mission, and he told me if I didn't have so many health issues, I would love to, but he said, please call me back. And he said, if I'm feeling up to it, I will come out and help you in October. And I've had actually a couple of other people whose country was Mexico, and they think something's going wrong. Some of them are here, they've immigrated legally, they brought their kids, they're worried about the future of their kids, because they sense this anarchy on this issue. So it's really interesting, and as I've gone around collecting signatures one by one, I've had 2 German women just tear into me. And it wasn't because they didn't agree. It was quite the contrary. elected in America. And they said,
Wow.
shut up, you'll be Somali in no time. And they were lecturing me, and I was like, look, I'm out here trying to fix it, but it was really funny. The reaction we get, even from immigrants, is they're very frustrated because they know, just like you said, they know what all they've had to do to all the bureaucracy and all of the money they've had to spend to be able to stay here and work and eventually become a citizen. So you're very correct in the way you describe that.
Well, and because that's very interesting, though, when you get to talk to them. Because first off, let me say, I have seen Liz at work, and she can hold her own. I have seen her interact with public who are not in agreement with what she does, and she can debate with the best of them. So that doesn't. And this little stick of dynamite.
On that day, we got to enjoy the full heat that afternoon when we were working out in Clear Lake.
Oh my gosh! And I want y'all to know too, that little stick of dynamite, Liz Bice, was out there, and I was about to pass out. I'm accustomed to air condition. She's out there just talking to everyone, having a great old time. I mean, we got a lot of signatures that day, and I want y'all to know that when you sign up to volunteer to do this, and I hope that you will, go to stopthemagnet.com and go to the volunteer page and sign up and be there. Be available, because this is important. And, I mean, this is what makes your vote count or not count in the elections. And so do this, but I'll tell you something, it is hard work. It's not like you're going to go out there and, have this giant air conditioner on you the whole time. So make sure that you're in good health and you're not going to pass out, or at least, sign up for a minimum of an hour.
Scare them away, because remember, October is a beautiful month in our fair city.
I'll be there.
And actually, it'll be a lot easier than when you and I were doing it. But anyway, it is fun to interact with voters one-on-one, because I actually want to hear what they have to say. And believe you me, they all have a story, because they're coming in from different occupations and professions. So they have a story to tell about immigration, things that even those of us involved in the issue don't even know, and it's just incredible. But it's like I say, whenever someone doesn't agree, just say, well, thank you, and move on to the next voter, because there's always someone that will sign those two petitions. And I do have a little training video. We're going to be over at Tracy G in the morning. There's going to be a speaker named Dr. Vickers, who is the leader of the Texas Border Volunteer Group, and they really do keep their eyes on the border, and he's going to be telling us the latest news on that. And I will be present outside with a table and with the petitions and the materials, and I'll be there probably get there about 8:39 in the morning, before Dr. Vickers goes on the stage to give us the true report on the border. And the group that is sponsoring Dr. Vickers is called T-FIRE, Texans for Immigration Reduction and Enforcement. And they are a venerable group. They've been around for over 10 years working on this problem, trying to educate voters, bringing in some really awesome speakers over the years. So if you're out in the Southwest Houston area, or you feel like you can make it in, stop by about 9 o'clock to the Tracy G Community Center on West Center Road, just real near the Beltway off Richmond Avenue. So if you can check it out, and I'll be there to describe what we're going to be doing, and I'll have all the materials available if you'd like to get out and volunteer with us. We have about 5 voting locations we're trying to cover, and cover well, so the volunteers enjoy the activity. They get to make new friends, and it's kind of more fun. We're going to be doing West Gray over there in the River Oaks area. It's a multi-purpose center. We're going to cover Bayland Park off of Bissonnet. That's kind of southwest Houston. And we have Tracy G to cover on West Center Road. We're going to cover Nottingham Park out in West Houston. And there's one in the Spring Branch area on Wirt Road. It's called the Sosa Center. So there's 5 locations we're trying to cover. And the more people we get, the funner it is, because they can cover each other. One person can touch with you. I have a scheduler, and she works with everyone. And you can try it. Go out for 3 hours and see what you think. And it's really fun just to interact during this really heightened election season because there's so much at stake. And you get an opportunity to talk to the voters, not only about immigration, but you can say, look at the record of Mitt Romney on this issue and compare it with Barack Obama. And we can do things to help get out there and interact with the public on these very important presidential race. So anyway, I hope some people will consider volunteering.
Well, I also enjoyed while I was out there, just like you said, just one-on-one with the public. They all have their own views as to, and their own stories, as you said, but their own views as to why a specific candidate is better than another. And if you stand out there and you talk to them long enough, you will find that there are so many educated voters now in the Houston area, and I was so impressed with how much they knew, how you didn't have to teach them, how many people were willing to sign, and even more, how many were not. I was really kind of taken back by that. I mean, I didn't have, the majority of the people I approached signed the petitions, but for those who didn't, I was really surprised. And where I wanted to ask them why, unless they offered that information, there were other people to go to that needed to sign the petition. So I didn't spend a lot of time asking why, but it is an interesting topic, and it brings up a lot of fire in people. It really, it really is a little bit of an explosive subject. Everybody has, like you said, a neighbor, or because we are a melting pot, everybody has a neighbor or a friend who is from another country and who has a story to tell, and they will share their stories with us, and it's really, it's great for the morale. Really, it was. It was great for the morale, because if you're in this fight long enough, like you and I are, Liz, you can get pretty negative about the situation. But we are to a point now where we're less than 30 days away from the prize, and whether regardless who you want to win this election, it is my belief that come January, things are going to look up. And I believe that that's going to be because of these people who you are out there getting fired up, and who we are out there getting fired up, because they now have the willingness to go and get others fired up, because they see that this is an important election. And I'll tell you, I can't stress it enough, if we don't secure our own country and we depend on our government to do it first, you are going to lose your country, folks. That's the bottom line. So, Liz,
with this issue, it is tricky because you have one party doing the vote. They want to build their voting base, and then the Republicans also, you see them trying to find a strategy, a political strategy to go after those voters or not offend those voters who
That's
may
exactly
have
right.
families that are here illegally and so on. And then on the other hand, you have the business interests, the Chamber of Commerce, these powerful groups that basically can buy off these politicians. And after watching so many election cycles, helping candidates along the way, I kind of gave up on doing it that way. I felt like, you know what, we need to get out there and have a direct voice on this issue, because they're basically stalling us or blocking us at every turn. And
right.
It's like, a profound moment was I was out at Kingwood in the parking lot, and I met a gentleman. He was from Atascocita, and he really wanted to sign it. And then I realized, well, he can't sign it. But what he told me was, he said, oh, yes, I think illegal immigration is a threat to our democracy. He said it very stately and very sure of himself. And I said, really? How so? And he said, because we were never asked. And that is, to me, the root of the were never asked. We were bypassed as
That's
we
right.
the people on this issue.
That's right.
So
that was a very, very well stated point. And isn't that how this government is supposed to run? From the people, we the people.
exactly. Exactly.
Of the people, for the people, by the people, something like that. Hello?
You remember the deferred action for childhood arrivals? This little, basically, it's a 2-year reprieve from getting deported and maneuvering by the Obama administration. Well, Chris Kobach is the attorney, and he filed a lawsuit against it. He used some ICE agents that were basically feeling that they were moving against federal code because they were told to let a lot of these even criminals pass through the net. And they were actually pulling some of this population that would be eligible for this deferred action, were in the penal system. I mean, they've committed some crimes here and so on. And I believe that the governor of Mississippi also joined in on this lawsuit. So it came out today that Chris Kobach said that he feels very confident that he will win this suit and that this deferred action amnesty will be a moot point pretty soon because he feels like the law is on his side. And so that's going to be interesting to watch because they may be able to negate the damage the Obama administration has done in trying to give these deferred action waivers to these people. And it opened the door to a lot of fraud because they could falsify documents to prove that they were here prior to the age of 30 and so on like that. And it wasn't well thought out. So that will be a good thing if that can be blocked because that was an end run around we the people. It should have been run through Congress, but they knew that every time it was blocked, that the majority of the citizens in this country do not agree with the DREAM Act or any form of amnesty.
That's exactly right.
So,
currently we have a president who has taught that it is okay to go around Congress. And,
yes.
It's unfortunate, but truly we as the people, as a public, have been taught to, if there's a leader, then he sets the pace, he sets the rules. And that is why this past 4 years has been so dangerous. It has allowed a lot of this administration, good guys or bad guys, to look at things in a different way. There are ways, there are loopholes that you can get through. There are ways to get around the people if you want something badly enough, especially if you have an administration which is full of legislators who are against the principles of this nation, shall I just say?
Right.
Trying to fundamentally change America.
Right. And without ever basically running it through a legal process and bypassing we the people. And yeah, I think there's increasing pressure and increasing realization among the public that this is what is indeed happening. And of course, we know that once they're here, they can breach our systems, our welfare, our vote, and all of these things. They alter the ballots in Congress. They're counted in the census, so the reapportionment and the way that we award the number of seats are altered because of this population. So it's a very serious issue. But anyway, we're hoping to get out there and interact with the public, and I'm hoping that we can get some more volunteers to get the numbers that we need for City of Houston voters. So if you have anyone listening and they're interested, we do have a little training video that they can view so they get a feel for what it looks like, feels like, and so on. They just need to go to volunteer at stopthemagnet.com and just simply put your name and phone number, and we'll have our schedule will call you and see when you're available and what voting location you might be interested in. I do have some materials down in Clear Lake with the Clear Lake Tea Party, and they're keeping them there for anyone that's interested in working in that parking lot because it has a demarcation line, and so they have to get on the other side of it. So a lot of times you'll be talking to voters in the parking lot at that location. But we expect it to be very busy. When you and I were working, we had a primary and a runoff. because the parking lot, I believe, may remain busy the entire time.
Right.
So there'll be a much larger group of people to approach, and it may not matter that there's a demarcation line because there'll always be people parking even on the back two rows. So it'll be easier to get to those voters. So anyway, I made the training video, and if people are interested, we'd love to have you. We have an interesting group that's come on board. I have retired police officers. I have, like I said, I've mentioned some people that are from Mexico. I had a man from South Africa that helped out a little bit. I have a lot of women that are older and retired and have some time. And we have veterans. We have Colonel Stan out there in West Houston leading up a site out there. And so I'm enjoying very much getting to know all these volunteers. And it's incredible the bonding that is occurring. We're all making new friends in places we never thought. So it's a lot of fun. So it's not just kind of a bummer. But anyway, it's volunteer at stopthemagnet.com, and we would love to have you on board. So please consider checking it out. And the website is www.stopthemagnet.com.
So tell me, Liz, if you would, real quick, we're down to just a couple of minutes left, but if you would tell us real quick what dates we're looking at volunteering for, and I think you said about 3 hours a person or a team.
Yeah, 3 hours, 6 hours. Some people are scheduling for an entire week. Some people that are retired and can spare it, and of course we love these people really putting a backbone to the effort. Basically, we're trying to cover early vote sites, but we don't want to stretch them too thin. Where I send someone out and they're alone in some unknown voting location. So what we're trying to do is staff 5 top voting sites in Houston and staff them well so they can feed off each other. And also, we believe we can recruit some voters onto our little citizen army because there are voters that are thankful and gracious and enthusiastic, and you can immediately say, would you mind helping us out? Would you like to sign up? So we believe we'll be able to recruit as well. So the dates are for early vote October 22nd to November the 2nd, and those are it's a 12-day run, and we're trying to cover a lot of sites. There's a couple of sites in West Houston, one in Southwest Houston. We have one central, River Oaks. And if you have anyone interested in Clear Lake, I do have material out there. Maybe they could get a friend and go, yeah, I'll go over to the Clear Lake early vote location, and I will make sure I understand the City of Houston voter, and I've got a video for you. And you can take signatures out there. So, and the Clear Lake Tea Party has just been fabulous. They've been very supportive.
Well, and they are fabulous, actually. They're very hard workers in their own right, and that's a whole other topic. There's a rally coming up here in Clear Lake. I think you and I were talking about that the other day. So definitely keep that in mind also. Are you going to be at that rally or sending somebody out to work a table?
I'm thinking about it. I'm going to look at what my schedule's like for next week, but the next couple of days I'm going to be really busy. But, yeah, I would love to get out there. I love those people. And they also have a guy from the Pearland Tea Party that really, they link together nicely, and they all work together. It's fabulous. So,
and that's as it should work. That is exactly how it should work. Liz Theis, I appreciate you so much. Everything that you're doing for this country. You're a volunteer, which means more to us than anything, because this is not a paid position. It is simply a passion position. And you did this on your own, and that just shows that you are truly an American. We are so proud to be associated with you here at All Fired Up Radio, and appreciate your time here this morning.
Oh, and likewise to you, B. You've been wonderful. You got out there with me, and I thank you so much. And thank you for having me on today.
My pleasure. Thank you, darling. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
And that was Liz Theis with StopTheMagnet.com. That's StopTheMagnet.com. I hope you will all go there to her volunteer page, and if you're in the Houston area, volunteer for a voting site, because this is what will truly decide whether your vote counts or not. We know that in America we have different opinions amongst Americans. to have different opinions amongst those who are not American is not necessarily how things are supposed to be run. So go out there, volunteer, cover a voting base, and get some signatures. It's really fun. It's really easy, and as she said, it's going to be a beautiful month in October. So looking forward to see you out there. I'll be out there, probably at the Clear Lake location. So thanks, everyone. We're going to turn to break and be back with you in just a couple of minutes. I'm Beatrice. This is All Fired Up Radio.